Hey guys, Mrhappy here, and today I want to talk to you guys about Chocobo Companions in Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn. We're going to go over how to obtain them, where to buy the items to summon them, and their different features. So, a Chocobo Companion is a Chocobo that acts as both a mount and a battle companion for whenever you're leveling solo. Well, mostly solo. You can use them in parties, but we'll get into that in a little bit. They have four stances. They have a free stance, which lets them do whatever they want. A tank stance, which makes them focus on tanking. An attacker stance, that makes them focus on dealing damage. And a healing stance, which makes them focus on keeping you alive. You can change these stances at any times, but they do have some special rules to them that we'll go over in a little bit. They're really useful when you're soloing in case you want to have an additional quote-unquote party member with you. Again, we'll get into that a little bit later, guys. So first is how to obtain them. First, you must actually get your mount. It's the first big step. It's gained after you join your first Grand Company, which you'll do a little bit after you kill Ifrit in the main storyline. Once you join the Grand Company, there will be a quartermaster there that will at your Grand Company, which will sell you a Chocobo issuance for 2,000 Grand Company seals. You can just go farm a few fates, maybe do some Grand Company hunting logs, and you should be fine on that. It shouldn't take you very long. So once you get this, you have to get your character to level 30 in order for it to join you in battle. So once you hit level 30, go to Camp Tranquil in the South Shroud. This NPC named Docet or Doquete, or we're not even going to go into this right now, will give you the quest that you need. Once you complete that quest, you have to go over to an NPC in the Central Shroud, which I believe is where the quest actually ends. And there's an NPC that sells greens to you there. And you need these greens to summon your Chocobo. You will need 1 green for every time you wish to summon your Chocobo out to fight. So if you withdraw your Chocobo and then immediately resummon it, you're going to need another green. Keep in mind though, this isn't the only NPC in the game that you can buy them from. It's just the NPC most people recommend you go to. But I provided a link in the description that shows you there's a total of 4 locations, 1 in each main city and here, that you can actually go to get greens if you don't want to go out to Central Shroud every single time. So now that all this is done, you can access your companion's menu through your character menu. As you can see, it's here at the top above your weapon, and when you click it, you'll get this menu. There's a lot going on here, so I'll break it down before we talk about the Chocobo itself. So first you have the rank, which is separate from your Chocobo's level. Your Chocobo's level is always equal to your level that you currently are while your Chocobo is summoned out. But ranks are like an internal leveling system for the Chocobo, which grants you a single stat point or SP to spend on upgrading their abilities, which we'll talk about soon. You know, when you have him summoned, it also shows his HP as well as the remaining time he can be summoned. Yes, there's a time limit to how long they can be out at a given time. However, when entering a city, this timer will pause because your companion can't join you in the city, and when you leave the city again, it will resume. There's also a small indicator under the rank to show if your Chocobo is currently doing nothing, if you're mounted on it, or if it's summoned. It's kind of unnecessary, but it's there, so I'm just making note of it. Under this, you have the options to summon your Chocobo, mount it, or command it to perform a certain stance, which we talked about earlier. These stances can also be checked under the Companion tab of your Actions and Traits menu. Now, in the bottom right, you have Gear, which is just for show, so you can try to make your Chocobo look unique to you, although it seems everybody has the Behemoth one, if not the Sleipnir one. I haven't seen any of the AF ones yet, so I'm not sure about that. And finally, you have their skills. Unlike character progression, the Chocobo seems to follow a more traditional skill tree. Not so much a tree as it is a straight line, but it's just a way of allocating points to decide abilities and passives for your Chocobo. 1 SP can be used to unlock 1 ability or passive, and as I said, these can either be abilities or passives. It can be a brand new ability for your Chocobo to use, or it can be an ability that just gives them more strength or more accuracy or something like that. But now that we've spoken about that, you'll notice that these stat points are separated into Defender, Attacker, and Healer. So as before, we mentioned there are 4 stats: Free, Defender, Attacker, and Healer. Putting points into specific trees means that Chocobo can only make use of those abilities when they are set to those modes. For example, if you spec into the first tanking ability and then spec into the first attacker ability, the Chocobo will only use these when they are either in attacker or defender, but it won't use both of them. However, free stance is the exception. When the Chocobo will just do whatever it best see fits. It can use the attacker one, the defending one, or it can cast Cure. It means it has access to everything. It doesn't do one job great, but it does each job good enough. So free stance is a pretty solid way of using your Chocobo if you don't really care whatever it's casting and you just want to throw points into stuff. So next, now that all that's out of the way, how do you actually level it? Simple. You go and kill stuff. The Chocobo will steal a portion of the EXP you gain to help it level, but it is not that much. As you kill more enemies though, the Chocobo will get experience and eventually rank up, granting you a stat point. So with all those bases covered, I have a few tips and tricks for your Chocobo to help you level it and to help you not have to deal with some of the things that are less quality of life. So I think they still have some kinks to work out on this Chocobo thing, but let's just go over the tips. So first, he cannot enter any instanced event. So only use him when you're out in the open world and you have no plans of queuing for a dungeon, doing a main story mission. If you're basically just out there fate grinding or doing regular quests that don't require you to zone into an instance, it's okay to use them. However, that also means that if you are what's the word I'm looking for? If you're gonna queue for an instance in the duty finder, don't use your Chocobo, period. Because if you queue into the duty finder and then summon your Chocobo, he'll kick you out of the duty finder queue. So if you really want to do instances or a main story mission or something, just stay solo. Don't use your Chocobo. Really only use him when you're out fate grinding or doing regular quests that don't involve being instanced. He counts as a party member also. So if you have 7 people and one person summons their Chocobo, you cannot invite an 8th person until the Chocobo is dismissed. So if your party is trying to fill up with 8 people and you summon your Chocobo, it's kind of just common courtesy to put it away. Next, you have the amount of EXP that the Chocobo actually is required to level, and it's actually proportional to your current level. That means if you're level 50, it'll take a lot more experience points to level up your Chocobo. So it's actually quicker to try and rank up your Chocobo when you're at a low rank. When you first get him around 30, but as you work your way up to 50, those are the best times to actually level your Chocobo. So next, it seems that there's currently no way to reset their stat points, meaning that once you make a decision, for the time being, it's final. So be very sure you want to put them in right. Keep in mind that the maximum rank is 10, so you get a maximum of 10 stat points. And finally, this is the big one, you cannot be mounted at all when you are fighting with your companion. You must withdraw it in order to mount. Even if you're using a different mount, like the Co-Earl mount or the Magitech mount, you still need to put your Chocobo away. You need to withdraw him. If he's out there fighting, it simply won't work. Other than that, go grind it out. Try and get to max rank, and there's an achievement for getting to rank 10, and just have some fun. It's just another sort of distraction way to keep your mind off of maybe dungeon running or something like that, and it's actually a pretty neat feature. I hope that they can expand on this in the future and maybe allow us to raise Chocobos and things like that, but that's all speculation. We're not going to get into that in this video. If you have anything else to add about your Chocobos, please place it in the description below. I personally find their AI to be exceptional, but I feel like the UI could use a little bit of work. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, please like, favorite, subscribe, and share for more Final Fantasy XIV content. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. I like to give updates and I like to answer questions there. You can usually reach me pretty easily through either or of those two. So if you have a question, feel free to shoot it to me there. I take a little bit longer to get back to the YouTube ones, but I'm trying, guys, so don't worry. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.